The Sony PSP, released in 2004 and discontinued a decade ago in 2014. The PSP was an incredible little gaming system. I was obsessed with it as a kid. I remember playing loads of Tony Hawk games, especially Underground 2 Remake. That was my childhood. And there's no denying that as a little gaming console, a little portable handheld system, it was well ahead of its time. But we're not here today to talk about games. We're here to talk about photography. You see, Sony also released something for this little gaming console that turned it into a camera, and that was this, the little PSP camera. There was a few games that utilised this, some augmented reality, that kind of thing, but also you could just use it to take photos on the PSP. In fact, when I had my PSP as a kid, I had a memory card that was full of photos and videos, loads of old memories, and it vanished one day, not a clue where it went. I will never see those photos and videos again. But I do remember vividly using that as a kid. And since I borrowed this PSP from a friend and it had the camera with it, I thought I might as well go out and take some photos on it and just see what it's like now in 2024. 10 years since the console was discontinued and 20 since it was first released. So here's the plan for this video. Today I am going to go out with the PSP with the camera attached and take some photos. Don't know what it's going to turn out like. If I was to make a prediction, I'm going to predict that they are going to be really poor quality, like they're going to look rough. But this is a 20-year-old handheld gaming console. It is not a camera, so you can't really expect any different. So we're not going to be making like really high quality photos here. Do not expect that at all. I certainly don't. We're just going to have some fun. We're going to go out, have some fun with it, mess around and just see what it makes. And depending on what I'm able to capture when I'm out, I will edit a few of them here and just see if I can make some little works of art. Probably quite lo-fi. I don't know yet, we'll see. But that's the plan. Have some fun, make something pretty cool, see what happens. Before we head out, if you want to see more fun videos like this, or some stuff more serious, I do a load of documentary stuff, then this is the place to be. Drop a like on this video, it always helps massively boost the channel and the videos. It's always much appreciated. And if you want to see more, then hit subscribe, because I've always got loads of stuff on the way. So I'm going to get the little camera attached, I'm going to head out, and I'll see you when I'm back.
What sauce do you want?
It's tomato.
Right, that's that done. I've got to say, on the actual PSP themselves, they don't look as bad as I was expecting, but once we blow them up on the screen on the PC, I think it's all going to fall apart. That is my prediction anyway. I've got to say, I did feel a bit weird out in public taking photos with that. I felt like people were looking, thinking, why is he taking photos on a PSP? I'd be thinking that if I saw the same. But yeah, it was fun to mess around with. I don't know what it'll come out like, so let's hop over there and we'll just have a look. See what they look like. I've got to say, it was a bizarre experience shooting with the PSP. I know I did it when I was a kid, but I didn't remember at all how it worked, so I had to learn, as you can see by these stunning shots to start with. But one of the dodgy things about it is when you click the shutter, it makes the shutter sound, but it doesn't actually take the image with the sound. It takes it like a second or two after with a delay. So there was a few shots I was taking at first where I was just moving too quickly and taking photos of the floor. But once I figured that out, I was able to compose the shots decently well most of the time. And although these certainly are not like actually good quality photos, there is an early 2000s nostalgia to them. These look like some of my memories from when I was a kid, the kind of things I had on my old PSP and old phones back in the day. And I think that lo-fi falling apart kind of digital look that it has is not entirely bad. I actually think there's somewhat of a charm to it. Right, So they're not the best, as predicted, but there is a few in there that have potential, I think. So you're going to have to trust me with this one and bear with me. I'm going to edit some, and we'll see what they come out like. I do think I can actually make something pretty cool with this. So the first photo I thought could be salvageable was this one of the pylon. Now, as it currently stands, it's really low res, so I thought that I would try and turn it into like an album cover, like a grungy, lo-fi, low res, moody album cover. So I pulled in the explicit lyrics label and nah, it wasn't looking good. So I opened up a new project and I put it in the middle scaled down to try and pull some resolution out of it. And I used the generative fill to fill in a bunch of surroundings for it, and they weren't really looking too great until eventually it came up with something actually half decent. I did go through quite a few generations to get there though, but eventually it came up with this, and this kind of just reminded me of like, well, there was a few artists actually it reminded me of. There was this artist called, a music producer called Hallow, who produces some pretty cool ambient music, and it reminded me of the artwork that he posts on his socials. I say he, I don't know, that they post on their socials. It reminded me of that noisy, grainy, lo-fi, almost PS2, PSP style looking artwork. So if you like ambient music like me, do go check out Hallow. And then it also reminded me of Brent Wong's paintings, these like PS2 generated looking kind of things, just these if they were more moody and dark and grimy. So that is the vibe that I went for when I made this. So I came back in, I added in some noise which worked like magic, and then I blended the lines between them, and this was the end result. I really like this. This looks like an actual piece of art, but like something pulled right out of a PS2, so it gets a thumbs up from me. The next one I went for was this one of the road cone, and straight away with this one I thought, yeah, I'm going to make an album cover with it. So I multiplied it a bunch of times, so I had 9 of them in a square, and then I did a bunch of generative fill stuff just to mess everything up and make it look all a bit funky, a bit broken. And then I pulled in the explicit lyrics label, messed one version of it up underneath, and then overlaid another one, and this is what I got. I really like this as the end result. If I was looking through a vinyl bin in a vinyl shop, I would presume that this was some like industrial ambient kind of album, and I'd pick it up. So I'm happy with that. The next one I went with was this down the it's an underpass under a motorway, and this one is a messed up shot. It's all noisy and colour blocky. So I did some generative fill stuff and it came up with this tunnel, and I thought, well, I can kind of make the tunnel work. I tried blending it together and that didn't work. So instead, to try and make everything seem more cohesive, I oversaturated it, I added in that noise, and it was looking like liminal and strange. So I added in these weird people generations, and some of them were looking pretty cool, and that's what I ran with. And in the end I made this really weird, bizarre, strange thing. I don't even know what to call this, but little piece of art, kind of cool. For the last one I went with this brick building. I filled a few things in with brick, and tried to continue doing that until it just said, yeah, sound mate, and it just kind of refused, gave me a thumbs up for some reason. Eventually I got past that hiccup, filled in the rest of the building, made it black and white, added some noise, generated like a weird sort of wormhole, black hole, galaxy kind of thing in the top. Messed around with that a bit, changed the colours, that kind of thing. Made sure the noise was all good, and then this was the final one. So this was also playing on that PS2 generated kind of look, that old school, noisy, gloomy kind of image. I told you, you had to trust me. That one especially of the pylon, I think that is genuinely like cool. I think that looks good. Lo-fi for sure, but pretty cool all the same. Yeah, it ain't no camera. You can actually make something half decent out of it, which is a nice, pleasant surprise. But I think if I'm ever going to touch it again, it's probably just to play some nostalgic games. I don't think I'll touch the camera on that one again. Maybe I'll have to borrow a DS. I know some of those models, like the DSi had a camera. Might be a bit of fun for another video. Right, if you stuck this out, then thank you for watching, and thank you for trusting me that I could actually make something decent with this. I know most people won't have, because it really didn't look like it from the start. But yeah, sound for watching. I'll see you in the next one.